Oh, Quiet
Yeah.
Riot's always good.
Wait, Dad, how's it go again? I didn't hear.
So anyways, you can find me on I'm right here on this channel, obviously watching me here. Also on YouTube channel, Canthan64, on Twitter, Canthan Live. Yeah, welcome.
It's a me.
I forgot my drink. I forgot my drink ready.
Oh,
You guys ready
unacceptable.
to toast? Where's my shot glass? Oh well.
Just
Hey,
eyeball it, Dad.
cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, Dad. That's how you do it.
Right out of the bottle, man. All right, we
Oh,
are
wow.
now lubed up.
Just like Janis Joplin.
Isn't she like
All right,
60 now?
first up, some dailies. These are Canthan quick notes. Not much this time. So we talked a couple weeks ago about character creation. Something I wasn't really into. I might spend 5-10 minutes, create a character, off I go. There are those who spend hours, which is great. I love that aspect. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is not a MMO. It's an RPG coming out from CD Projekt Red, maybe next year, I think.
No, this year.
But they have this year, okay. They've added a lot more character creation aspects of it, okay. Stuff that takes things to a whole new level.
Whole
You
new
know,
level.
not just your height and your build and your eyebrows and your cheeks, okay. But yeah, that spot between your legs, they got you covered now, okay. You can get it to where you want it to be, okay. So yeah, male or female. So boop, there you go, okay. All right. So I just had to mention that because I thought it was very unique. I don't know we'll ever see. Well, actually, Age of Conan or Conan Exiles does give you more aspects of that, but okay. Next up is Summer Game Fest. I've mentioned this because the guy who does this, Jeff Kiley, usually does the Game Awards show every year. He might still do that. He was thinking about doing E3, but bowed out at E3, and so decided to put together this thing called Summer Game Fest. It's for 3 months: May, June, July, August. Go through their website. You'll find some stuff. May 7th was their first one. It was an Xbox Series X game trailers. Some look pretty cool. Obviously, again, some of them are RPGs. I wouldn't necessarily call them MMOs, but you can always go watch those on the YouTube channel of Solomon SK's Coffee and RPGs. All right. So that was just a simple thing. Not much really in the news this week. This is more of an opinion show of topics that we like to talk about for MMOs. One quick thing is so Escort's Quest. We want to get you there safely to your next destination. New World put a blog post end of April. It was called about war, about how they're doing the whole PvP, RBR, world versus world, whatever you want to call it, aspects. Really cool looking, really interesting. And I know that it's also been talked about on Jafar's show, a whole new world. So I don't know if you guys want to mention anything about this at all.
Nope.
I guess not. All right.
I mean,
All right, so now-
it's been covered.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
So yeah, when new news comes out for New World, we will do a special New World show. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Now, the next thing is WoW. Of course, we can never go a week without WoW because WoW is WoW. But anyways, last week we chatted about the fact that Mike Morgan, who found one of the founders of Blizzard, chatted with a reporter about the fact that he said that MMOs had kind of lost their social appeal, or he's seen it go down, making the game easier for players, reduce the social aspect. Well, he got pushed back by J. Allen Black, the current CEO, a guy running Blizzard. Was like, no. Matter of fact, even Ghostcrawler, who made a comment, no, some YouTube channel videos. But there's also interesting that Eon has a Costas. Okay, I thought it was a quote from one article I read. There's an inverse relationship between friction and the strength of bonds that are formed as a result of that friction, and to overcome that friction. Now, I was referring to the fact that because you have to go group up in the old world, Classic is a good example now. and nowadays you have looking for group, that the whole idea of some of the social aspects really hasn't changed much. Now, I thought it was interesting that I think all three of us agreed that WoW had seen a reduction in the social aspect, because looking for group means you join in, you go run it, off you go. Back in the day, you had to find a group. You had to be more diligent about the group. You wouldn't let go of healers because you made some mistake, because you're like, this took me 30 minutes to find a healer, okay? Going in Baron's chat, whatever it is, going, LF, looking for a group, looking for a healer. And so I thought it was interesting, because I leaned more toward Mike Morgane's response than all the other Blizzard people. I don't know. What did you guys think about the pushback that he got on this?
I knew that was going to happen, and all it really is a war of semantics. They're taking a descriptor word or sentence and viewing it in a different light. Is it easier to put a group together now than it was in vanilla? Absolutely. They've got LFG, they've got LFR, looking for group or looking for raid. You can go in there with a bunch of unknowns, pug groups as we call them, pickup groups, and without even ever speaking a single word to those people, go through, successfully complete the dungeon or raid, and never see them again. And as you were saying, it is easier to treat people just as disposable because
kick him out.
yeah, oh, I don't like this guy's not doing enough DPS, kick him out. We'll get the next person in and hopefully they'll be better. I don't like this person, let me die. So I don't tolerate that. I'm not going to let him do it to me a second time. So I'll kick that healer out and we'll wait for a new one to. And so to me, it is, again, semantics. It's ridiculous. They know what he was trying to say. And of course, they still work for the company. He does not. He's, well, we'll put bunny ears like I always do on every episode, retired.
Well, he's not retired.
Not really, but he no longer works for the company. He wasn't slamming them. He was just saying, hey, this is just a fact that, back in the day, people built friendships out of this. People have long-lasting memories, like us in here.
I do.
We have memories. We still, to this day, have friends that we made on those games, not just World of Warcraft, but other games that came out, Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest. There's still people I talk to from Meridian 59. That was another game that you absolutely had to have other people helping you. And those are friendships that lasted. Nowadays, I would challenge you to tell me that that same process is happening with LFG and LFR, that you're meeting people in those groups, that you're going, hey, you're an awesome tank, dude. I want to be your friend. The next time I have some problem and I need a tank, I can call on you. Can I add you to my friends list? Is that happening? And I would venture to say that's not happening like it used to happen. And they know that. But on the other side, it is business. They do, and they have the full right. And I expected them to defend where the state of World of Warcraft is now. And in some ways, it is a lot more convenient. All three of us agreed to that on our last episode. We talked about it a little bit. It is far more convenient. It is great to just be able to go in LFR and hit that new raid tier and, go bust right through their Zerg style, as I would call it. But yeah, you're not getting sure, I'm sure someone in the audience is probably going to say, well, I made friends in the last couple of expansions. So you might have, but it's not as prevalent as it was back then. It's not going to happen as often as it did back during vanilla, if we're talking World of Warcraft specifically, all the way up to Wrath of the Lich King. I think I made so many friends up to that point, and after post Cataclysm, not so many. I mean, I know Colby's probably watching, and I befriended him in Pandaria, I think. But that's one friend that I've made in in that game specifically since that time period. Well, before that, I had lots of people that are still on my friends list. I still talk to at least weekly, even though I'm not even playing the game right now. So, again, just to reiterate and put it all in a nice little suitcase, I would say it's just semantics.
Yeah, and I get the fact that they're working for Mike. Is retired workers. I'm sure he might have stock in the company. I made those lists for Dark Age of Camelot, and that's the same thing with the WoW. I mean, you find the right people you want to hang on to, and you actually ask the people, "Can I put you on my friends list?" I remember people asking that question on my friend list. I'm like, and yet nowadays, I mean, I understand the article saying that it's easier to make groups these days. It's easier to play with your friends across realms because, hey, if you're not on the right server, you want to create a new character? I don't want to pay $30 to transfer it. I get that, Kay. So Solomon, what are your thoughts about this? Are you still leaning the same way before, or you think these guys are just blowing smoke?
Man, where do I begin? We kind of touched upon it last time, but
we did, yeah.
Yeah, I still stand by what I said. I think, but I think Serge Aziel nailed it on the head. You had two different, you had a CEO, the former CEO, two alpha males just talking about semantics, and I think that was key.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there were. I think when you use the word, oh hey, sorry, real quick. Thanks, man. Thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. I really appreciate that. What was I saying? Oh yeah. And so when they were talking about MMOs being less social, it's like they weren't even on the same page. They're operating on two different definitions of the word social. And so that's what I was in that's what I was getting at, because as part of my notes that I wanted to talk about was actually Fortnite. Fortnite is actually getting more social, and like according to that analogy or that instance that I'll bring up, like, so does that make it more of an MMO, less of an MMO, or somewhere in between, or not at all? Because let's face it, games like Second Life is actually technically considered an MMORPG, but that's not a game people typically think of when you think of the term MMORPG.
No.
So again, yeah, exactly. We're talking about semantics again. So again, that's the thing that I wanted to bring up, or I could probably talk about my notes now, but that's what I was going to allude to when talking about, like, again, the social aspects of an MMORPG. Like, what is it? Okay. What what do you need to in order to fulfill those definitions, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just want to wanted to retouch upon it because Mike did get some backlash, and I'm like, I don't agree. I was listening to the podcast for Massively OP, and both Justin and Bree were somewhat leaning toward J. Allen Black and Ghost Crawler's point of view than Mike's. So I'm like, no. I mean, I get the point. Probably could see it a little differently, but oh well. If anybody in chat has an idea, let us know if you think that MMOs have gotten more social or less social. All right.
I mean, no one's. I've got to put this in there, dude. I'm sorry.
Put it in there.
As many dungeons and raids as I've ran since the beginning, but definitely over the years, if you're talking social by the definition of being social, like us three are being with the rest of you guys and gals watching right now, we're actually communicating to each other. Absolutely not. I have been in so many raids and dungeons through looking for raid. I was going to combine those two words together, and looking for dungeon or looking for group, LFG. I hardly ever get anybody. I'll say, I always say hello at the beginning. Hope you guys are having a great day.
Right.
And very rarely, maybe 5% of the time, I will get someone that'll say hi back. Most of the time, there is not anything said through the voice chat, or if you're even in the voice chat, which most of them aren't, or through a text. So as far as social, dude, they know.
Yeah.
But I just want to throw that in there.
You remind me of the fact that when I played Final Fantasy 14, what I hated the most was the fact that the mainline quest ran through dungeons. So I had to LFG. and I
Yes.
knew that I'd be dealing with people who weren't my friends or my free company, sorry. And I'm like, I tried to avoid that like the plague. So I much prefer doing those things. I think League of Legends really kind of took me in a bad place. I didn't play a lot of it, but how many toxic people were just ripping on you, okay, for how you played the game. I mean, I've dealt with being a tank and a healer, and wow, I've had people criticize me and whatever. Okay, I don't care.
Yeah, that's part and
It bothered
parcel
me
of
a
an
little
MMO.
yeah, and that's why I'm like, okay, so I like the fact that the LFG means I can be anonymous, but it also means it's not as social. I mean, so you're right. It's a very good point about what is the definition of social. I think we're on the same page with that guy. I think even Jay Allen Black and Mike Morgan were on the same page with that. But I think the main thing is Jay Allen Black, of course, he says you don't need it. You don't want WoW Classic, and the dude also is still a corporate shill. So it makes you wonder, like, he's got to say these things. All right,
That's true.
we have done the escort. We hope we got you there safe. Now comes some delivery quests. We'll start with your Jazio. What do you have that you want to quest us with? What's in your quest log?
Okay, so I was going to. Sorry, this dog is bugging me here. I did not see it in our notes originally, everybody. So just a little behind the scenes. I put this out there that I wanted to talk about and didn't see it in the notes. It turned out I was in the notes. So
Okay.
Kempton was paying attention. So Elder Scrolls, if all of you have your ears and eyes open about the Greymore chapter is coming out here in a few weeks. One of the new systems that they are putting into the game is called an antiquities system. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, they grabbed that idea from World of Warcraft's, artifact,
Right.
searching for, not artifact. What am I thinking of?
It was
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. I'm sorry,
you were an
guys. I've had a headache.
archaeologist, right?
Archaeology. Yeah, you're an archaeologist, and you go
That's it.
around, and basically, there's in World of Warcraft, there's little red areas on the map. You go there, you do a little search the area thing, and then it points you in the direction you need to go, and gives you a color system as to how close you are to the object. And you do
Right.
that for 5 times to find 5 different areas, and then that area is complete, and you get those little bits and pieces that you can find all kinds of different pieces of loot and whatnot, as well as little trinkets and things. But it's pretty simple in World of Warcraft. Well, in Elder Scrolls Online, that idea, they've taken that and kind of made it into more of a puzzle system. And it's still going to be kind of the same thing that you go and you find these dig sites that unlock different lore, as well as mounts and historical kind of weapons and whatnot. And you can also get epic stuff, which is unique. Now, it would be far easier to explain this through their little video that they put out. So maybe Solomon can put that while we're talking about it. But I thought it was really kind of a cool system that added a little, because ESO is known for a lot of things. One of the things is that they have some really cool systems already in the game with puzzle solving to get through parts of a quest, whether it's putting the right crystal on the right pedestal, or turning statues around to face the right way and have light beams or lasers go through a system to unlock doors, just all kinds of different things that you can do. And I just thought it was kind of a neat take on it. I do agree that, yeah, World of Warcraft already has that, so they probably kind of grabbed that idea from their possibly, but they do it in a different way. That at first it sounded super complicated, but then once I watched the video and went to the website and started reading about it, it's actually just a lot more fun. And there are different, you can choose to do the easier puzzles or the more difficult ones. But I just thought it was kind of neat to see that they are still very much trying out new things with the game.
Absolutely. That was, I thought, I mean, first thing I ever thought about, same thing as WoW did. But I was interesting is like, oh, the puzzles, that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
And the actual trinkets you can probably put into your house. It looks really cool. I mean, and to me, it's like, I don't have a problem with one game developer copying somewhat. I think others, that's what we see. I mean, you're thinking about every evolution of a game. There's sometimes a major stepping stone between between games or between game types, but most times they're just slowly moving their way up. A good example is I know that the Gabe Newell from Valve was talking about, especially with their latest VR for Half-Life, was they always wanted to do things that step poof. That's different. If ESO has this game out there, is Cinemax has this found for a while now and just wants to add a little bit extra thing to it. So what do you thought, Solomon?
Sorry, what was the question?
About these artifacts and these
Oh yeah. I mean I briefly covered it, and
antiquities, yeah.
Yeah, the whole non-combat aspect, as Serge Alzil mentioned earlier. From my understanding, and again, because I know you guys still play ESO and I don't, it's like a non-combat alternative to people who are just, I guess, killing spree fatigued, I guess you could say. Was it like didn't it appeal more to people who wanted to get into the lore, if anything else, from my understanding?
It is good for that. Well, it's good for multiple things. You can. I would see it as it is a new skill line. I believe it's called scrying. That is, you unlock that ability to learn that, and then you do these kind of mini games.
Right. That's what I saw.
And the thing is, it is kind of. I can see your point where it could be taken as something to kind of break up the monotony of just going out and killing stuff. And of course, there's plenty of that. I mean, I know people that just go in there and only do, like crafting and selling stuff on their guild merchants and whatnot, and just making money, which you know that's all fun and good, but I kind of like killing stuff myself.
Right.
But it's kind of a nice little thing, and yes, I absolutely am looking forward to it, because there are supposed to be a lot of little lore tidbits in there that a lot of us have been kind of nibbling at the bit waiting for. So yeah, I would love to. I love lore. You guys know that. I mean, I was the same with World of Warcraft. I bought all those books and all that stuff because
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I bought them at full price, which I feel now. But those Chronicles books, in case you haven't seen, when they're full price, they're expensive,
I
but
bet.
Yeah.
they're worth it. It was worth it. I don't regret it, even though I'm not playing the game right now. I still love it. It's fun. And
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to this system, and it is a PvE thing. And it's not even PvE. I mean, you're not even really having to fight anything, as far as I know. It's just kind of a system where you go out and you do archaeology. I mean, I don't want to call it that, because that might that's putting a little too much credit onto World of Warcraft, but that's okay. That's why I originally did something like this. But the mini games and the puzzles are really the uniqueness to this, and the fact that there seems to be more to gain from it. Like Kenneth was saying, there are some furnishings, mementos, I believe, and treasures that you can get from it. Usually the treasures you just end up selling, and you can get a lot of money for. Mementos are things that are gathered that you gather together, and you get certain ones together, and then you can turn them in for huge rewards. And there's also, I can't remember the name of the mount, but there's a mount that as you do this, you're going to retrieve different pieces of that mount. So you may retrieve his right leg, left leg, front left leg, front right leg, the head, the body. During this process, you're going to be retrieving that, and ultimately you're going to end up with this awesome mechanical mount at the end of it. So if you're into collecting mounts and unique ones, because it looked really super cool. I cannot remember the name of it. I'm trying to scroll real quick to look for it, but I'm not seeing it on this article. Darn it.
It's called Frankenhorse.
It's really cool though.
All right. Did you have any more notes, Shajazio?
No.
All right, Solomon, it's your turn. What are your notes for the night?
You have notes too, right, Dad?
Your quest log. What?
You have notes too, right?
Well, yeah, some notes, but
okay. No, I'm just saying I don't want to leave you out in the notes field. You know what I mean?
No. So the way it works out is that I kind of do the initial notes. You know,
oh, okay, fair enough.
I kind of puts together the dailies and the escort quests, and then I know that I didn't catch something. That's why I want you guys to do delivery quests for things I missed in the quest log.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Actually, I just thought of two things I wanted to mention. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to talk about Fortnite and their Party Royale mode that I covered earlier this week.
Royale.
Yeah. So I guess there was a demand for people who wanted to play Fortnite but just wanted to goof off. Like I know fashion shows are was something that a lot of people have been doing. I know Pastor Scar has been doing that a lot in his stream as well.
Eagle Garrett became partnered because they did those things.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. So obviously there's a market for people who want to play Fortnite, be involved with Fortnite without having to do the competitive modes of Fortnite. And I think Epic Games released or Party Royale because of that. And again, this is a non-combat mode of the game where you have like some sort of like water park or some sort of park, and then in like I think they're talking about adding like a go-kart, like like basically
like a Mario Party.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Although I don't think the points are really there won't be any points, but per se, or maybe they will put points. I don't know. And so, I mean, this is something that Fortnite has done before with their concerts that they did with Marshmello last year. Which was pretty big on the Twitch charts, and then they also did one where right before episode 8 came out, they had like a special trailer made specifically for Fortnite that they would air in the game, and so you had like this movie theater in the game that you could go up to and watch this new trailer before the movie came out. So we knew that
type thing.
Right, exactly. And so we know that that they've done this before, but I think they're adding this as part of their as a permanent mode within the game. And again, like, why are you talking about Fortnite in our MMORPG podcast? Well, it's because, again, as I mentioned before in my previous episodes and just a minute ago, that these aspects is again what makes a game social. More or less the same way it would make an MMO or other online games out there social. And again, as I mentioned before, sorry for sounding like a broken record player, Second Life and the countless other games just like it, is just that Second Life is the most popular, is considered an MMORPG by all accounts, because you do role play in the game, but they take it to like on a whole different level compared to what we're used to in World of Warcraft. Like they
Real old money buying stuff in
that too, and they have their own economy because of that. You could buy and sell things that people have made, and there's different various communities out there as well, and you could really get lost in this world. I've seen people do that, and yeah, that by all accounts is an MMORPG. Now, I'm not saying that Party Royale is going to be the new Second Life. I mean, maybe it could be, who knows, but they are sharing the same aspect. And again, I don't know, like from what I've seen of all the different parties and concerts that they had before, there seems to be a lot of people in a condensed, area. And I don't know if it's necessarily thousands of people that you and I would agree would be part of the definition of it being an MMO, having a persistent world with thousands of players, unlike a lot of mobile games that claim to be MMORPGs these days. And so yeah, I'm really curious as to where Epic Games is gonna take this. If it's gonna be, if maybe Party Royale is gonna be a completely a separate entity from Fortnite, maybe even perhaps or things like that. And so that's why as an MMO fan that we are, I was very curious. Where this could possibly go.
That's a good point, considering if it's not just 100, but there's more people to it, then you start getting some bigger numbers. We talked about one time what is the definition of MMO,
right,
or massive.
Right.
I mean, like Battle Royale is 100 people. Well, that's not massive. I mean, Fallout 76 is only 24. And so you're like, that's not really MMORPG. Destiny has a little more per server, even though it's still locked, even though you're kind of more of an instance lock. You get into a group with other people.
Right. It's like a hub based online game.
Yeah, so if if Fortnite does this and has like thousands of
right
on any given server role playing their character,
right,
now you're into that. So
Fortnite, the MMORPG.
Interesting.
Like, mark my words, when that happens, it's like, yep, I called it.
I don't know what to think of that.
Oh man,
it was a dungeon defender at first, when it first was being touted, the actual buy the game. Then they came out with this battle royale free to play. It just hit the ground running and just took the world by storm.
Right.
And so I don't think anyone even plays the original Dungeon Defender version of the game, even though I did buy it. I figured I'll toss them some money, and now they're having a party royale.
I think it's smart too, because Epic Games needs to change things up, do different things to remain on the top right now, because they are top dog, but they're not gonna be the top dog anymore. And I think they're trying everything they can to stay there as long as possible. So I think it's a smart move personally, but again, I'm biased that way given my opinions. And
well, that's why you have all those other games that are vying for it, whether they like Realm Royale, smaller versions, or even the latest one from was it COD or Battlefield one where you drop in the Modern Warfare, I forget what it's called, the one where you drop in kind of a battle royale type thing. Huh?
Yeah, Modern Warfare's version of their battle royale system.
Yeah.
I thought it was called Warzone.
Yeah,
Warzone. Warzone. Sorry, yeah.
Where you go to the gulag.
Right, Solomon, what else you got?
So one last thing. This is something I covered last week, but it went under everyone's radar just because it wasn't really it was interesting of in itself, but it wasn't interesting in the broader scope of things. That totally didn't make any sense, but hear me out. There was a Kickstarter for an MMO called or something like White Walls or White Walls, Occupy White Walls, I think it was called, or something like that. And it was technically supposed to be an art MMORPG. And a what?
You say art MMORPG?
Art. ART.
Art.
Yeah.
Oh, art. Oh.
Yeah, and the Kickstarter went on for quite a while, but it didn't reach the intended goal. The purpose of this particular one was supposed to be a oh gosh, what was it? It was like a virtual reality world where buyers and sellers can exchange their art, like a museum, but in the virtual reality. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that seems pretty interesting. And the guy who's kickstarting it, I forgot his name, but he distinctly said this was going to be an MMORPG, but for art. But I mean, it managed to raise like about $60,000, but I think he needed like 112 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And and so I think the campaign was up for like 3 months, maybe, if that, and it just didn't garner a lot of attention. But I thought that was pretty interesting, because when was the last time you heard somebody who tried to make a MMORPG around art, like, you know, around a Mona Lisa or Picasso stuff, you know? So anyways, just thought I'd mention that just because.
No, that's good. That's a good point, because one thing is interesting when you talk about RPG, role playing game, and you start thinking about, like, I guess anything you do is outside of your current life is role playing. I mean,
that's true.
LARPing, you know, people who LARP are role playing. I mean, people who are in, like I said, Second World are role playing, and then like playing MMO, I'm role playing. Wait a minute. It's like even like Final Fantasy. Oh, sorry, no, Fallout 76. I'm role playing. You know, and like, yeah, I guess if you are role playing an artist making artwork, you are role playing. And if it's a massively multi-online where you can just go and have your place, like your own house, and you start decorating it, people go by and look at it. Maybe even like Second World where you buy it and you can sell it. Wow, that has a very good, interesting premise behind it, because Second World has a lot of that, right? Is that Second World? Yeah,
Second Life.
Second Life has a lot of that, where people have made furniture and clothes,
right,
whatnot, and sold them for real world dollars.
right.
People have them in the game, so people who live there, you know, can have their second life, and they do actual crafting. So kind of makes sense, you know.
Hey, you combine that with like a Ember Sword, you know, with their cryptocurrency in an MMORPG with Second Life, and then have Party Royale join in. You have what was it? You have a Ready Player One world right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I happened to find a video on YouTube. I was just kind of sharing it on my stream just now. It's White Walls, like you said.
White Walls. Okay, yeah.
Self-proclaimed art MMO. First look by Skyland. This is like what? This was the video I was showing was April 2018.
It even was featured in a New York Times article too. You know, just.
Oh, okay.
Not that I really trust that. Well, anyways, that's something else.
All right. Well, that was kind of cool. Thank you guys for those side notes that I didn't think about. That's why, I mean, I know it's what Jazio said, but it's okay. It's okay that I had it there. He didn't see it. It's okay, because I wanted. All right. That's all it for our delivery quest. Now for some storyline quests. Okay. So talking stories. This is where we come like. So this topic has been in my notes for a while. I don't know if we actually talked about it directly, but are mobile MMOs real MMOs?
Nope. Moving on.
Have we before on this? Did we already chat on this before? I'm not sure.
No, we haven't.
Because when you think about the idea of what's called massive multi-online, typically you think about PCs. Yes, right. We know MMOs have gone off to PlayStation and Xbox. Like example is that Kamiko finally decided to pull the plug on Defiance on the Xbox 360. You know, and people were like, "Oh, okay, wait, what? It's on the 360?" And now we know that a lot of MMOs have gone mobile. I mean, they advertise it all the time. Even some of the games that you play on the PC have a mobile version, or at least a way. I think BDO has one. Things they can go fishing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can.
But anyway, so Solomon, are mobile MMOs real MMOs?
Again, unless it fulfills that what do you call it? Not definition. Unless it fills that requirement of having thousands of people in a single server, then no. Like, but no, as far as I can tell, no mobile game that claims that actually does it, with the exception of possibly old school RuneScape. And that right now is in beta for the iOS and Android, I believe, or both, or either. I can't remember, but yeah, like that's the only game I would consider an actual MMORPG for the mobile platform. Other than that, you have all these other companies out there from Korea and China, you know, saying, "Oh, play our MMORPG on your mobile phone," and you jump into it, and it's just like you and like 10 other people, and it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't really consider that an MMO. Black Desert Online I think is a classic example of this. You do see other players walking around, you know, and there's other titles like there's a few I used to play. I can't remember off the top of my head. Where you go around the city and you see other players and stuff like that walking around and everything, which is cool, which is fun, which makes it an online game. Don't get me wrong, but as far as calling it an MMORPG, I think that does a huge disservice to actual MMORPGs like World of Warcraft and Black Desert Online, Final Fantasy 14 that actually uses that label and that title. And so yeah, I think you could call it an online RPG, call it a hub based online RPG or whatever, or co-op RPG. But an MMORPG, I have a huge problem with that. And again, it's like not a huge problem in a sense that if you wanted to call it that, then all of a sudden I have a problem with you. It's like, no, that's not what I mean by huge problem. It's just
Right.
there's a lot of confusion by using these terms that aren't really meant for games that people want to use them for, unfortunately. So because again, I mean, how are you supposed to compare something like I don't know, what's a popular MMORPG right now? Well, let's play Black.
Wow.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, not WoW, but for the mobile platform.
Oh, mobile.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right? Like
Lineage
Lineage?
2 Revolution.
Oh,
so I
uh,
mean,
Order and Chaos.
let's
I would
take
say.
Lineage 2 or even Black Desert Mobile for an example. Like comparing that to World of Warcraft, I think it's not it's a non it's a false equivalency. You just can't compare those two. It's like comparing a Ferrari to a Honda. No offense to any Honda out there, but you know the analogy. It's like, so that's why I want to be, again, maybe I'm just too caught up in labels. I will admit that. Maybe I'm just spewing a bunch of nonsense out of my mouth. I will admit that, but it's like when I think of an MMORPG, I get excited, and then oh, but it's for the mobile platform. Then it's just such a huge disappointment because there's already an expectation to have when people say that sort of stuff, because I've been disappointed before so many times. So that's why I'm very adamant about not really being a fan of the mobile platform.
and that's a fair statement. Because when I think about MMOs, I don't think about mobile. And
Right.
You're right about the definition. Massive multi-online role-playing game. If it fits that, I guess it can be mobile too. To me, it just doesn't feel like you're playing an actual PC game. So Malouz mentioned several of the two games he plays on PC that are going mobile are Company of Heroes or the Company of Heroes and Hellborn. It's two games. Company of Heroes and Hellborn. He also mentioned Ark Survival has a mobile game. So Jazeel, what are your thoughts about? I mean, are mobile MMOs real MMOs?
The greater majority of the ones being labeled as MMORPGs are not. I don't believe that they fit. It's deceptive advertising. It's just loosely
Fair.
on the edge enough that they can label it that and not have people be extremely angry. And I do see, as technology has progressed and as phones just become more and more powerful every year, it's amazing how much these phones can do this year that they couldn't do last year. And then you look way back and it's just crazy how powerful these are now. And I have seen games that touch on it enough that I think a couple of them I just mentioned, I would say that they are. There definitely aren't thousands of people running around in that same iteration of the game that you're playing. They're separated by shards or other technology where it keeps it from completely burning your phone in the palm of your hand and eating up all your data, because that,
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's face it, that's still an issue, even though there's Wi-Fi everywhere, according to Verizon and AT&T. I used to play Order and Chaos too, and on my phone, and it was pretty cool. It was probably the closest thing to World of Warcraft on the phone that I've ever played. But even that, I have a hard time calling it a legit MMORPG. It was fun. and you were able to group up with other people. You did see other player characters running around you. I'm not sure. This website here is saying that there could be 1,000 people per instance of the game running around with you. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what what their site is telling me. I never saw that many people. I never got into Lineage 2. I heard some good things about it. I heard some bad things about it, but I know a lot of people were enjoying that. Of course, some of those, I think, people, especially YouTubers, were getting paid to like it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because there's a lot of people that were playing that last year and the year before that are no longer playing it. And
you mean like Raid Shadow Legends?
like Raid, yes. Raid Shadow Legends, yes. And old school RuneScape is looking like, I mean, that's pretty legitimate. I don't, well, you guys know, I don't dig RuneScape at all. But it's, I would say that's legitimate. But for the most part, no. Now, as far as consoles go, I do remember playing a version of EverQuest on, I think it was the PlayStation 2. And I remember having to buy an adapter and to be able to plug into the wall and use dial-up to play EverQuest on my PlayStation. I think it was the PlayStation 2, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been the PlayStation 1. Don't shoot me. I don't. I'm thinking, trying to think back.
Wait,
I don't know. Yeah.
you mean the Dreamcast?
No, it's definitely not the Dreamcast.
But, wait, you're right. The PlayStation 2 did have a LAN cord output.
PS1.
PS1, I'm pretty sure did it.
I'm
pretty sure the PS1 did it. PS2 did.
Yeah.
But...
I'm trying to think back, guys, but like I said, I had a headache all day. Everyone, please forgive me. But, I'm pretty sure it was a PlayStation 2 had a version of EverQuest. I think it was called Online Adventures, and it was pretty legit for a console. But nowadays you can play Elder Scrolls Online on there on on the console. So I think we're getting to the point where you can play a legitimate MMO on your phone.
Yeah.
But why would you want to? Is my
yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, Malou says yes. EverQuest was on PS2 for online.
There you go. Okay.
In this whole discussion, what's interesting, I think, is that I always think about mobile, my phone, and yet a good point was the fact our mobile phones today are as more powerful than the PCs that we originally started playing online games with.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
And some of the games that are mentioned that have gone mobile are old titles trying to get a breath of new life. And I'm wondering, because that's the reason why it's easy to go mobile, because they don't have to do anything new.
Right.
It made sense console-wise, because once consoles started becoming online, I was like, well, that's the next branch, right? I mean, and there's always been that argument, the whole PC over console and who's going to win. And now, especially with Microsoft blurring between Xbox and Windows 10, it makes very much sense that consoles and PCs are in the same category these days. Mobile, I've always had this issue for me personally, because I never played the old, whether it's the PSP or the old DSs or anything that was small screen. I'm like, how is that real playing? I mean, I played PUBG on my phone, and it is strange to play this than playing. It's actually easier. I get more kills on the phone than I do playing PC.
Really?
It's such as yeah. I
aim
did
assist
personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aim assist.
You're hacking, Dad? You're hacking?
No, it was a hack. It was in the game, okay? So that's why I always have this thing where I was like, no, mobile MMOs are not real MMOs. And I think because as long as you're playing on a small screen and you're using your finger to drag things around, it doesn't feel the same with the mouse keyboard. How can you be in the world with people? How can you be grouping up with people? I guess it's all depends on the size of your screen. I'm not a person who likes playing small screen stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't either. It's the same thing with Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. Watching movies. Why would you want to watch a movie on your little
Yeah.
phone when you can watch it on the 60-inch or 50-inch out in your living room, or even on your 21-inch computer, or God forbid you have anything smaller than that. But
Well, like
it's the
QB.
same thing.
Yeah, QB is one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I
Mm.
want to watch content on my phone like that. I mean, there's small snippets and they're like YouTube-ish type thing, but you pay, I think, the
Right.
first 90 days are free. It's what's the original content? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, like I said, it's possible, and I do think eventually there will be a World of Warcraft on our cell phones. I think there
Yep.
will be ESO on the cell phones, but I will not be playing it on my cell phone. I will be playing it on my
Yeah.
PC.
Right.
Well, what's going to happen is that this will be like a Switch where basically you're going
Right.
to play on your phone, you put in a docking station, and then you put a mouse on the keyboard. So
Well, plus
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
if you want to, you can go off. You can go off.
I
It's like,
think-
play the game.
I
That's
think you
cool for those
also.
moments when you need to go use the toilet.
Yeah.
Well, I think you also have
True,
to
that's
take into consideration that 5G is now coming out, and that's supposed to be like 10 times faster than 4G. So
It is.
cloud gaming, I think, as much as I hate to admit it, cloud gaming, I think, is going to be the future.
I agree with you 100%.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all for our storyline quest. Now we're going to become class quest. So it's kind of a tailor made to a specific class. We had talked about different classes and characters and whatnot. I just thought we'd be interesting to note if you ever had a real life job that you would like to see as a class in an MMO. I mean, I'll give you an example, because me playing a game where one of the classes is an engineer, like, oh, cool, I'm an engineer. Let's do that, even though it's not quite my engineer. But I like that's like class, right?
It's true.
I don't know. And of course, cooking's in the game. We know that. We know like blacksmithing and tailoring, me kind of stuff. I just didn't know if there was a real life job out there that you have ever thought about that would you love to see in an MMO. To Jazio.
Well, for me, my jobs have kind of been in games, just not in the same way. They've been dealing with magic, as far as healing people and being a paramedic or surgical technician, and even working in the pharmacy. Not that doesn't really translate into anything, I guess. But
Alchemist, I guess.
with being an EMT and whatnot, I mean, you can be a healer and whatnot, but you aren't really doing. I mean, there is that surgeon simulator, which is kind of fun. But, I don't think that would translate in an MMO. I don't know how you would put that, other than having a real life simulator kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to do on VR, but I think most people would get pretty grossed
Yeah.
out once they got a legitimate.
Well, let's forget about your jobs. I mean, was there any other job, any real life job you ever heard about that you thought would be kind of cool to try out if it was actually in a game, an MMO?
I always thought it'd be kind of cool to be like an astronaut or something, but and to go through the whole training process, especially if it was VR, which I don't unfortunately have a VR headset. I wish I could try one out. It'd be so cool to have a friend that could loan me it, or I could go over to his or her house and try it out. But I think that would be a really cool experience to um, go through the training process with NASA or with SpaceX or whatever, and that you have all these different quests that are taking you through the process that the astronauts actually go through, and learning about how to physically prepare themselves, mentally prepare themselves, and then actually be in the cockpit of the rocket ship or the space shuttle or whatever, and take off and go up into the International Space Station and have different quests to do in there. That would be really cool to experience. Being that I know that I'm probably never going to get to experience that in real life, I'd love to be able to, put on a VR headset and live it through an MMO.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
Hey,
Lou says being a firefighter.
AKA Star Citizen, Sir Jaziel.
You're not wrong. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was felt.
That's a
I need to go
point.
get some burn cream now.
All right, Solomon. Has there been any, whether it's your real life job or any other real life job you heard about that you would ever like to see as a class in an MMO?
I would love to live in the world of
Warcraft. Sorry, I had to.
Right.
No, it's kind of funny. T said, play Dead Space because Mama didn't raise no wimps, right? So, just kidding.
Great game.
I added that last part myself. I don't know. Like, in terms of particularly from MMOs, like I haven't really like asked that question myself, just because. Admittedly, a lot of the MMOs, like professions, like, tailoring, blacksmithing, all that other stuff, they've been so run of the mill. Like for every single MMO I feel like I've played so far, nothing really sticks out.
Right.
But
Right.
so outside of that, like kind of answering the question, but not really. The only MMO that I feel like I would really like to live in the world with, that really comes to my mind off the top of my head, would probably be Aeon Online. Just so, because you have wings and you can fly, and I thought it'd be really cool to fly, so that's probably about it. And look pretty cool at the same time while you're doing it. But yeah, I never really, I'd pick up different professions like tailoring or stuff like that because I needed to, but I never thought, oh, that's that sounds amazing. I want to learn how to sew, or I want to learn how to make swords because that sure looks fun. Like I never ever said that to myself ever at any point playing MMOs or otherwise. Although it is a good question, I will admit it is a good question. But yeah, I just
it's like, no, we have healer, tanks, DPS, the Holy Trinity of MMOs, and it's like that like for example, Dark Age of Camelot had the Bard. It was a Bard, right? No.
Yeah. Plays the instrument, right? That
yeah, right. The Bard,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So,
That was the Bard.
yeah. And so that was interesting. Okay, there was a way of, obviously people who play Star Wars Galaxies, the dancer, that always used to heal people up, right? There have been some interesting classes that are really kind of unique, and people just want to play it. That's why Lou says he wants to stay home to be a housewife. There you go. Yeah, it's called Sims 4 or Sims Online.
Well, that was the thing, is I started thinking about,
if that floats
like, there's a lot of single player games that cover those things that I maybe would want to spend more time, like fishing. There's games that you just fish, hunting. There's games.
Like I'm doing right now. Like I'm doing right now.
Picturing you're in ESO, you're loving the world of ESO, and you're like, something? I would love it if I could blank. We know that the common crafting, the common skill set. What do you want to do? And I thought the idea was like, well, what other class would there be? Because they always add classes at times, and they try new games and new classes. But I'm like, what would be kind of cool? Like you're running around in ESO, and you're lucky, like going, but I would love it if I could be blank, and like to be a kind of cool class to. I don't know what it is. I just do not know what it is. I said engineer. Obviously, for me, when I first saw it, I'm like, hey, that's me. So I'll play an engineer. But I was just thinking about, astronaut's pretty good. Even flying, be like a pilot. I don't know. It was just a thought process I had. I was curious if anybody had anything that might, spark some additional ideas.
Not really.
If I said Hello Kitty Online, does that make me want to be a furry?
Yes. That comes together. It's a package.
Sorry.
I should have a little thing. I should button when you say that. Anytime you say Hello Kitty Online,
there is
flash on my screen.
There is an engineer class in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, that was my main class. I love that class. That was fun. Make all those turrets and everything. That was fun.
Oh yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's also one of the more difficult ones to play, but once you get the hang of it, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right, we have now completed our quest for the day. We have completed everything we need to do for this. It's time to log off. But first off, there are some world events coming up, so don't forget to put them on your calendar, because especially when it comes to New World, at some point when they do actually run these RVR, PvP, whatever you want to call them, faction versus faction things, they're talking about actually putting on a calendar so you know when to join up. I've always hated the fact that if I'm out playing Dark Age of Camelot and all of a sudden they'll notice that our keep is under attack, and I got to drop what I'm doing, get myself all the way out over there, and then call the guild, and people aren't online, and you're like,
oops.
that's okay. It's early game. Okay. So anyways, so world event coming up. So May 26th is when Elder Scrolls Greymoor comes out. That's right. Skyrim is here in the ESO world. People are going to love that. You already some quests out there to get to the underground. It's some kind of a pre-quest. Anyway, so we here on the Trinity MMO Show are going to do a pre-launch show and then start playing the game. Time to be determined, because we haven't figured out the actual time it gets released. We know it gets released May 26th. You can pre-order it now. Also in August, on August 25th, there will be a New World premiere party. Right now, if you look on Amazon, it says midnight release, but I don't know that's believe that. And not to mention which, that if you do buy it early, or you get into the beta, and they might just offer early access for those who've actually pre-ordered it. I don't know. So more to come on that. But 2 world events coming up. We want to engage you guys. We want to play some games with you all. And what a great way to do this and actually start a show, talk about the show, talk about the expansion, and then go and play the expansion right then and there, or the game. So there you go. More to come. But don't forget that May 26th, Elder Scrolls Greymoor, August 25th, New World. And don't ask me when WoW's coming out yet.
I don't think anyone knows.
Shadowlands.
They did in the quarterly report, the phone quarterly report that they just did this last week. Of course, I don't know if I'm supposed to be. I'm sure it's okay to say, because I think Blueler actually covered it. So, because I do still hold stock with them. They indicated it is going to be Q4. So, got fuzz if you're listening. I was right. I'm just kidding, bro. But
October, November, December.
So October, November, December, somewhere in there. And again, I'm still saying November, guys. I'm still saying November, probably the week before Thanksgiving. Just an educated guess. But they did confirm that it's definitely Q4. So it is coming out this year.
Okay. For sure.
Well,
that's good.
That's what they're telling us shareholders. So they don't want to lie to us.
I'm glad it's not going to be August, because it will be terrible, because that's when New World comes out. And I plan on doing New World over Shadowlands. So
I do too.
And I know a lot of people who are like, I will play New World if a month after it's released, people are saying it's good. But a lot of folks are hedging their bets because they've been burned before. So I get it. So to me, it's not much of a big deal. I'm going to do this anyways, but yeah, for others. All right. We have finished our day, finished our quest. Now it's time to hit the button to log out. We're saying goodbye to all of our family and friends. So where can we find you, and what MMOs are you playing, Solomon?
It's been the same since it's been the same since we started this show.
Fishing.
Been playing Black Desert Online. If you find me again, I did a rebranding last week and a half ago. Used to be called Whiskey and RPGs, but now it is Coffee and RPGs for advertising friendly reasons, according to the YouTube algorithms. But other than that, you can find me there, Coffee at RPGs. You can also find me at Twitch at twitch.tv/Solomon_SK. You can find me on Instagram with that name too. And that's it.
All right. So Jaziel, how about you?
You can follow me at Sir Jaziel, all one word, pretty much everywhere. But mostly, if you want to communicate with me, Discord, Twitch, or Twitter are the best places to get a hold of me. I am pretty exclusively playing Elder Scrolls Online right now. Just working on my sorcerer, just trying to 100% the game. Actually, is my ultimate goal.
Completionist.
Yeah, I am going to 100% it at some point. It's probably going to be a lot because I've got 500 and something hours in it so far, and I still don't even think I've got 20% of the game done.
Yeah. I mean, even when you get higher level, there's a lot of
Yeah,
cool things to do and see in that game. That's where I mean,
definitely.
I'm going to finish up and level up to where I'm at, but I know there's so much more I can see and do. So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a great game. And then of course, the the one that I'm restricted by an NDA not to say the name. I am alpha testing something that's coming out later this year, and uh, I'm pretty
I think
excited about
we're
it.
allowed to say the name, but
Yeah, I don't know that I'm getting.
I know what they said, but I don't. I think never mind.
There's technicalities, and then but it's been said when devs were in the channel and they didn't
Yeah,
say
but
anything about it. So
when you literally go on to Steam and you can see your friend playing a game,
right,
or even Discord, I think it kind of shows you the game. I'm like, I don't think it matters that they know what game you're alpha testing. You just
Yeah,
can't
I don't.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
I don't think it matters. I think you can say
Yeah.
you're alpha testing. You
okay.
just can't
All right,
say.
so I'm alpha testing New World. If they yank it from me for that, I'm
What?
sorry.
Really? Oh my
uh,
goodness! I didn't know that.
Nobody ever knew that. No, actually, you know what's funny?
mhm.
Elohim Piano said said Ashes of Creation. I was like, that's actually a pretty good guess.
No.
That's actually a pretty good guess,
That's
but no.
it's a pretty good guess though.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to that game. I don't. It's going to probably just be one of those games that I play part time, just because it is more of a PVE PvP kind of crushed together, but it's more PvP. It is more about controlling territory and having fun with either supporting that or playing a part of that. Um, and I'm a we said it earlier in the show, and I've said it on pretty much every episode of this show since the beginning that I'm a lore guy. I love a really good story, and uh, if they don't have a whole lot of PVE and lore and story kind of being fed to me, I'm probably gonna stick to the games that have that. As far as primary games, I'm still gonna play it for sure because it is super fun for what it is. But I my story feel, man. So ESO and World of Warcraft are probably still gonna be the big
Yeah.
story mode games for me. And just for those, because I know everybody always asks, I am still working on the Master's Medal. I've been having a lot of headaches, and honestly, there's just been days when I had set aside time to record, and my head's just throbbing, and I'm like, that's not a good time to, because I'm gonna sound like an emo kid or something super, and I want to be
They don't like that.
enthusiastic. Yeah, it's not that kind of
Want to
show.
be the emo.
Yeah, I already sound like a jazz radio DJ for a metal show, so it's already weird. I don't want it to be worse. So, if everyone could just please be patient with me, I will have them out by this summer, and there will be plenty of Christian metal to bang your head to, especially as we all hopefully are going back to work and getting back out in society and actually seeing people.
Oh yeah.
again. I will have some awesome music for you to bang your head to as you're driving around in your car or sitting at your desk at work or whatever. So just be patient.
Bang your head.
Oh, Quiet
Yeah.
Riot's always good.
Wait, Dad. Dad, how's it go again? I didn't hear.
So anyways, you can find me on the channel. I'm right here on this channel, obviously watching me here. Also on YouTube channel, Canathan64. On Twitter, Canathan Live. You're right. I don't have the same thing all around because getting Canathan everywhere was kind of hard. Bang your head. I was doing the other day. I started singing that. I want my MTV. And people like it.
Oh man, that's totally gonna be the intro.
But who sang those words?
Justin Bieber. Yep.
Nope. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Thank you for being here on the Trinity MMO Show. For those people who are questioning why it was called the Trinity MMO Show, because one, there's 3 of us. That's one Trinity. 2, as the MMO players, we understand the holy trinity of heal, DPS, and tank. Okay, and 3, we are Christians, so we believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And guess what? That makes 3, so another Trinity. Whoa, blow your mind, man! All right, thanks for being here, everybody. God bless you guys, and we'll see you later.
I just lost a bunch of subs thanks to that.